Mr. Nitin Mehta is the co-founder and executive director of Elcoy, one of the India's leading supplier of eco-friendly, high-performance fenestration solutions. With his futuristic outlook and innovative leadership, Nitin has led the growth of Elcoy into an industry leader in the realm of premium fenestration. Under his leadership, Elcoy has completed 15 glorious years of its services and achievements and has transformed into a one-stop solution provider for the design, manufacturing, installation and servicing of precision engineered fenestration system in India and abroad. Nitin will speak about the role of fenestration and waterproofing for monsoon. So let's welcome Mr. Nitin.
So let me start with, what probably a monsoon can bring about unexpectedly for many people who use fenestration systems. So what happens when a monsoon season is actually arriving or it has already arrived? So what is happening here is that number one is direct water ingress that happens through fenestration systems. I'll get on to that later, why it happens, how it can be prevented. But let's figure out the problems that come across. Number one is a direct water ingress. Number two is obviously sometimes monsoons, when we have high rainfall, are also accompanied by high winds. So we have to also take care of the high winds coming into the house, and wind drafts is what we call it as. So wind drafts is one thing that we need to deflect when we have a very heavy rainfall as well as a very high winds that are blowing during that monsoon. Now the third thing is the humidity. Now obviously we all know that during monsoon season the humidity is one thing which basically builds up within the habitat because of difference in temperature conditions and inside and outside. Now the fourth is condensation. Condensation is something which with more and more advanced technologies being used for fenestration systems. Condensation is something when you have a drastic change in the temperature inside and outside the window, water droplets form on the glass, which basically become a hindrance to your, I would say, outside view. So these are the four basically main reasons which I find that a layman actually comes across while the monsoon season has come in. Let me just take you further into why these things would be happening. Now, let me just talk about one thing, that why would a water ingress happen through a window? Now, one thing is to do with the design of the product. Second is to do with the execution of the product. And third is obviously the preventive measures which we need to take before I would say monsoon season approaches. So when I talk about the design of the product, let me, make you go through three areas. Let's say we figure out New Delhi, Bombay, and Bangalore. Now, I'll give you an idea about the basic wind speeds prevailing in these areas. In Bangalore, the basic wind speed is about 33 meters per second, which is equivalent to about 120 kilometers per hour. Now, when I talk about 120 kilometers per hour of wind speed, this obviously is going to increase during monsoons, number one, and the pressure that it will create on the window or the glass would be equivalent to approximately 0.8 kilopascals. Now, when I talk about Delhi, it has a basic wind speed of about 47 meters per second. When I say 47 meters per second, in layman language, it would be about you're driving a car at 170 kilometers per hour. When I say 170 kilometers per hour, it would be exerting a pressure of about 1.6 kPa on the window. Now, let's consider Mumbai. When we have Mumbai, it has a basic wind speed of about 44 meters per second. When we say 44 meters per second, again, it is 160 kilometers per hour, and it is exerting a pressure of about, let's say, between 1.4 to 1.5 kPa of pressure on the window. Now, how do we design a window? Obviously, when as window design company or fenestration design company, we have to design it for the highest basic wind speed applicable in any part of India for us to use the product, because it is very difficult to design products for different areas. So we normally end up designing a product which is varying its resistance, or let's say compatibility, between 1.6 to 2 kPa. So what happens? So are we over designing a product when it comes to Bangalore, wherein the wind pressure is only 0.8 kPa? No, in that case, the window heights can be more. Example, if my window is designed for 1.5 kPa and in Delhi I can use it for let's say 10 feet height. In Bangalore, because the wind pressure is going to be 0.8, maybe I can use it for 12 feet height. So that is one particular aspect. Why am I talking about the design of the window is, now many people may have, I would say, experienced whistling sound through windows when heavy winds are blowing as soon as the monsoon season starts. Why does that happen? Now that will only happen if the system has been under designed. So the center part of the window where the two sashes meet, or let's say where two glasses are jointed, so there is one outer frame with which the window is kind of screwed in, or let's say fixed with the outer I would say edges of the wall. Now, but whensoever there is a glass break, there is a mullion which connects two glasses. Now, most of the times in India, the mullions are under designed. They need to be designed for a 1.5 to 2 kPa wind pressure. Why? Otherwise, what will happen is the center member will buckle and it will lead to breakage of the glass. So, if it is a sliding window, the whistling sound will happen. So, one thing that's very important is that whosoever is going for a window, buying a window, they should get test certificates for the testing of wind pressure at which the window has sustained, or let's say we call it the design load or the proof load. So that's a very important factor, and that is where also in Indian market, which is a very price sensitive market, a competitor will be able to differentiate its price by just not giving the rightly, I would say, structurally designed window system. Very important. Second thing is this, that we should be looking at the surface treatment. Why? Because that also affects the longevity of the, I would say, facade or sustainability of the facade. Example, in marine climate, we need to have either a PVDF or a anodized coating, which is more durable coating. Whereas in other areas, we can do with, let's say, a normal powder coating as well. Now, the third thing is the grade of material that we use. Now, obviously, we do aluminum windows, so I can talk about aluminum, that there is an architectural grade called 6063 Temper 5 or 6. And for all the accessories, either it should be very high grade galvanized iron accessories, or I would prefer an SS304, and for marine climate SS316 accessories. Why? Because what will happen in rain is, obviously with oxygen, there is a rusting possibility, and over a period of time, the wearing out of the fittings becomes faster. So boiling this down to, so let's pick up, how does the design of the window, the right design of the window, help us in monsoon season? It will not let your glass break. It will not let your section buckle. It will not let water ingress happening. And worst of all, the glass breaking and the entire window being open, because these days toughened glasses and security glasses need about 15-20 days of replacement time. So that is one. How does the surface treatment helps? It helps, although all these AkzoNobel and big companies which supply their powders in India, they give a 15 years warranty to 25 years warranty. But having said that, we have often been, buying very, very luxurious cars. If you would see a car which has been used for 5 to 7 years, the gloss dulls. The color of the car basically becomes, and they use the best of, I would say, liquid coating or whatever. So for that, what I would recommend is that people use, before the monsoon starts, they should start using surf water to clean their windows and use turpentine oil or a window wax, which is also used in cars. So what will happen is, it will not let the chemicals in the rain affect the, I would say, the surface treatment of the window, and it will help you last the window for a longer period of time. Now, the third thing I have is, as I said, before the monsoon starts, the oiling of the accessories is very important, and replacement of the weather seals, silicons with which the window is fitted to the walls is extremely important. So, first thing is the design of the window, which should be proper. Second is the preventive measures that we should take before the rainfall is starting. And third is, assuming something has gone wrong, what would you do? If the design has gone wrong, I'm sorry, there is nothing possible, but there is the replacement required. But yes, let's say if the gaskets have worn out, let's say if the weather seals have worn out, let's say, I would say that wool pile is something which is used in sliding windows has worn out. If these can be replaced in time, and a window wax as well as a turpentine oil treatment has been done, I think we are very well within our, I would say, secure level of comfort, where the aesthetics of the window at least will be intact. Now let's move on to the aesthetic, to the actual comfort. Example, a condensation. How can you avoid a condensation? Because these days, we have very large spans of windows, jumbo glasses, etc. What happens? The minute you draw out your curtains in the morning, and if it is a toughened glass, what you'll see is water droplets. So your so-called perceived view which you would want to have in the morning goes for a toss. So there I would recommend that people should do two things. Number one, they should prefer to use a double glass unit. Why? Because a double glass unit has two glasses, one on the outside, one on the inside. Even if the outside glass has a change in temperature due to the outside, I would say, weather, the inside glass is still insulated from the effect of that outside glass. So when you open up your, I would say, curtains in the morning, relatively you will see almost zero condensation or very less condensation. Second thing is that use the ventilation through the windows as well as possible. We are definitely these days wanting more glass, more views, but no one is interested in their internal health from the point of view of ventilation. So people should introduce as many openable windows they can in their houses, so that now that is an answer for everything. Heat air gets circulated, humidity gets circulated. So opening up the windows is extremely important. And I would say skylights are a very good source in terms of monsoon season, wherein even the top glass is fixed, but there is a parapet that is made on the, I would say the mumties, or for that matter, the terraces, where you can have exhaust, which actually exhaust out the humid air. So that helps in avoiding condensation. And even sections have condensation profiles that even if condensation happens, the gradient of the section helps drain out the water through its weep-holes. Now that is something to do with the design aspect. So design aspect is one thing which is you are going to decide while purchasing the window. After that, all these things that I'm saying can be taken care of as a preventive measure before the monsoon season starts. So after the condensation, okay, for wind draft and humidity are taken care of, the only thing that is left is I would say the materials. If they wear out, what to do? Frankly speaking, earlier when we started 15 years back, there were no retailers who were kind of retailing out good quality, I would say, silicone as well as gaskets, etc. So in case you can engage a local window company to service your windows before monsoon is starting, like they will clean the weep holes so that water does not get stuck, they will change the wool piles, they'll change the gaskets, etc. It will be very good. Why? Because even if the water is probably entering into the section, it gets drained out properly. So that is more or less what I had to speak about the subject. So I would say that, as I said, preventive measures are more important once the design stage is over than anything else. Why? Because the market has graduated enough to use proper execution techniques. I don't want to talk about companies who do not have the proper execution techniques. Why? Because that decision has to be taken at the start of buying the window and not before monsoon season. Before monsoon season, it's only and only the preventive measures that should be taken. And frankly speaking, maybe you can engage I would say, housekeeping agency. Maybe once in a year, they come and clean your windows as well as do a proper servicing, which we normally engage for our customers under our AMC when we do a project. So that's more or less from my side. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to address any questions.